Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and we're in the Monster Manual 3.5. And the entry that we're on today is the Fiendish Creature. Now it gives an example of a Fiendish Dire Rat, and then it has a template for creating a Fiendish Creature, and it has no reference art. So when you add a Fiendish template to a creature, you give it a Smite Good attack, and you give it a damage reduction, and you give it a cold and fire resist. It gains dark vision and some other stuff. So I came up with an idea. Sorry, let's do English today. For something that might be fun. So let's start with our base. We'll do it in a similar fashion that I do all the time. Why break tradition today? So I don't add a whole lot of humor to what I do when it comes to D&D. For encounters and stuff, occasionally. But what I thought of today is something that I've always thought of as a fiendish creature anyways. So I'm only just using something that's kind of been like I've played with before and joked about before to make today's miniature. So the fiendish creature I decided to make, since there is no reference art and there's a template, is to make the Killer Rabbit of Caer Bnog. If you've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you know about the Killer Rabbit of Caer Bnog. So let's start with how we can get this guy together and looking like we want him to look. So I got a rabbit here, and it's kind of big, but I think for something like this, you almost have to have something kind of big. And so I'm going to get a little glue. Sorry, I'm feeling very hillbilly this morning for some reason. I try not to speak like a hillbilly because in the professional field, people don't really embrace it. So I try to speak, you know what I mean? But when I'm tired, when I'm hyper, there's just different times where it kind of pops out. So I had this skull. I don't think it's going to be able to fit anywhere on that base, but what we can do is we can make sure we can get some bones on there. So I have some cut up people here out of my parts box and a couple extra skeleton guys and stuff. And let's see if we can't find some skeleton parts to get going on this fella. Let's take that arm. We'll take the hand off it. Oops. This would have been better with a large base. Okay. And let's see. Oops. Whoopsie-doo. See, that's a little big, so what I think we can do with that one is make it kind of coming out of the ground a little bit. And maybe a little piece of ribs. That's too much ribs. Oh, I broke it all apart. That's all right. We got another half here. That's way too much glue. That would likely never dry that way. Alright, let's get a little baking soda. Sunday morning. It's Saturday morning. Saturday morning. Do 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 do. Let's just make sure this is all sturdy. That's all I'm doing. I hear little footsteps upstairs. My little men are awake. I can remember, I was not born when I dropped my snippers. I wasn't born when the Holy Grail came out, but my dad showed it to me when I was pretty young, and I couldn't help but think it was just one of the funniest things that I'd ever seen. Like when they had to bring out your dead thing, and just all of it was just so much for a young guy to look at and laugh and carry on about. And the killer rabbit of Caerbannog. It's pretty funny business. Alright, so that's going to need something else to bond a little better. We're just going to get another little dab of super glue. Or, we're going to get a little bit of this. Make sure we have a good bond. Now, since we didn't have to build a miniature from scratch, we have a little extra time to work on our guy today. Let's set this off to the side, put him back in the bin. It's important to keep your bins organized, because if you do what I do and just let them get out of control, it seldom ends up good. Oh, where's my bin for soldiers? There it is. Alright. So I think what we got here is something we can definitely work with. Because I didn't prep any of this plastic, and I don't know how well it's going to hold glue, when I go to the part where I clear coat this, what I'm going to do is, he's got a little bit of funk on his butt there, a bit of mold line funk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it real light one time with some enamel clear coat, and that'll help the prime stick to it. So I'm going to do this off camera real quick. You'll be right here with me. I'm not leaving, but because I don't edit or anything, I just kind of just make stuff. Oh, I'm super. So I just hit it with some enamel clear coat, and it's going to dry really fast. It always does. Pardon me. And I'm going to hit it with some white. Now, when I do white, I hit it with a light coat, try to cover everything. And then I hit it with a hot air gun, then I come back and I hit it again. Tell you what, old Caerbannog must be a dangerous place. To have such a creature as this running loose. A fiendish, dire rabbit. So fiendish creatures live on the lower planes, and a lot of times people mistake them for half fiends and other stuff, but cleaned off my table a little bit. I had a lot of color on here and a lot of bumps and still have a lot of super glue spots. That's all right. So, due to the nature of this guy, let's start with the base and let's get a little brush. And this is going to take some time to paint because we don't want to mess up. I just bang my ball cap off the phone there. Now when you use this brown, especially this like cheap brown from Walmart over white, it generally does not give you a real strong, good base coat. I will be honest with you. Things just get so crazy, living life gets hard to do, and I'd gladly hit the road, get up, and go if I knew that someday it would bring me back to you. That someday it would bring me back to you. Now, baby, all I need in darkness she... Oh, man, I got to watch Holy Grail today. I'll tell you what, I've said it before, my second oldest son has a YouTube channel called The Grudinator, where he plays games, and he was playing this scary game called, like, There's Something Bad on the Moon or something like that, and it scared him and he screamed. I about died laughing. My wife and I watched it about 3 or 4 times last night, just cracking up. I mean, it was one of those, like, jump scare things, but it was just... He's not somebody who scares super easy, so it's very enjoyable to watch him yelping. Like we in our household, now the older boys don't live here, they're grown up and moved out, but in our household, we do silly things like hide and scare each other and stuff, and crawl around on the ground and jump out when no one, we're just dumb. But, he never really got startled by it. So to see him scream from a jump scare in a video game was great. It was super enjoyable. We were also happy that he was scared. Now I'm just going to lighten up that brown in some spots where the coverage wasn't great with a medium brown here. And I haven't cleaned out my brush or anything. I'm just going to paint the ground a Baronog. Carbanog, sorry. In my campaigns, before I used the Holy Hand Grenade as Antioch as some kind of like in-game save the world magic ancient item you had to find. For those of you that know what the Holy Hand Grenade is. Darkness, she is all I see. So come and rest your bones with me. Driving slow on Sunday morning. Alright, let's wipe out that brush, put it back. I don't use that brush very often. I don't care for it. I have a lot of brushes I just don't care for. +2 hot air gun above it. And for the rabbit, this is Apothecary White contrast paint, and I've used it a couple times lately with some decent success, so I'm going to try it again and see how it works out for us. Now, because this dude does not have a ton of detail, he's I think he was from a Five Below animal bucket I bought, which I would say it does have a nice mix in their farm animal bin, but the sizes and the scales are all wonky, and there was some yellow under him that I missed. Oh well. A little late now. We'll just leave it be. It won't kill us. So we want to get him good and coated. There we go. Alright, alright. Oh yeah, I missed a lot. There's some yellow up under his butt there too. I don't think anybody's going to see underneath him too well though. Stupid rabbit. The first Mrs. Doom and I had a couple pet rabbits, and one of them was a meat eater. He was a weird dude. I don't think we even actually named him. He burned our house down. he ate. I was off on a trading mission somewhere, and she was at a friend's house with the kids and the dogs, and she left the meat-eating rabbit in the kitchen, and he ate through a wire on the back of the stove and burned our house down. So, but there was a lot of jokes about him being the meat-eating rabbit of Carbanog. But he wasn't all white. He was gray and he had blue eyes. He was pretty funny. He just liked hot dogs and kibasi and stuff and fighting people. It's a strange rabbit. So this is Pallid Bone. It's a speed paint by Army Painter. And for y'all that have been watching, you know I'm an enormous Army Painter fan. I use Army Painter stuff. A lot of my brushes that I use on a regular basis are Army Painter. And I use speed paints and Army Painter paints like a lot. That's kind of like some of my go-to material, go-to media, whatever you call it. Their products are reliable and predictable, whereas like the contrast paints that I've bought, many of them have different consistencies and they behave very differently, and I've had the same thing with so many Citadel pots where I just don't feel like I get the same results. You know, I switch colors and the consistency is a little different and the behavior is a little weird. So the other thing I noticed with some of the Citadel stuff I bought, and this doesn't happen with Vallejo and Army Painter, but with Citadel, you might buy a color, then come back and go to use that same color, and its consistency might be a little weird or different from what it was last time you used it, and I hate that. I like to get a product and kind of know how it works and appreciate it for what it is and then call it a win. Alright, so So let's come around and do the outside of his base in black. That might not be enough. And I'm not going to do any of the top part. I'm just doing the outside here. Oh, I bought a silver... Or is it silver? I bought some kind of silver marker thing. And, I can't remember where I bought it at. Maybe Walmart? Thinking I could write on stuff with it. It's like a real fine tip silver marker. And I take it out of the package and try to use it, and it doesn't write on acrylic paint. And it says specifically on the package, writes on acrylic paint. But doesn't write well on dried acrylic paint at all. Even something that's really thin with no texture, I just could not get it to do a nice job. But I was going to use that on this and write, around the base real small. I was going to write like Carabanog or, the bunny of Carabanog or something like that. But I think the idea of how I'm going to do this base is going to make up for it. Alright, let me wash out my brush. This is that new brush I got that I was telling you about. This is going to be my new workhorse. It's a size 3. It's kind of big, but it's got a plastic handle, and I like a thicker handle. I need like something. I have bad arthritis in my hands, so I have trouble painting. I have to hold my paintbrush. It's kind of like a pencil a lot, and to keep grip of them, instead of like using it delicately like that, I have to and it makes it harder to paint as I'm getting older because of that. So I think we're going to hit him with the hot air gun at burning. And I'm just going to pull my tape back some, because I might need it more. Well, I will need it more. Okay. So we're going to get some dragon red now. And a really tiny brush. I'm getting a fractional brush for this. We're just going to do his eyes as a red dot. Kind of big and pronounced and silly looking. And then we're going to get that red. And we're going to get down inside the base here. And hit different spots. If there's any little white spots you missed underneath them, this would be a good time to nail those. But we don't want to make it like the whole base is red, okay? And if you bump some against them, like that right there, don't worry about it. Just rub it around to make it look like it's smeared. If you want to get a little bit up on those bones, that's okay. Do it. I'm getting some on the side of the base a little bit. That's alright. I'm not sweating it. I usually don't like to do blood effects on my stuff. I went through a phase where I did it for a while when I was in my 20s where I thought I was super cool, but now we're going to have to hit his face up. Oh, hell. I am getting old. Okay, let's dry out our brush. We're just about done here. I have one more thing I want to do. Let's move our tape back. We're going to need that one more time, I'm thinking. Let's hit this guy with the +2 hot air gun of burning. Look at our killer rabbit. Our Carabanog. Now, I don't know if any of y'all are from England, but I don't know if all the Monty Python guys were knighted, but they should have been. Get our tape back. And this is blood red. And I'm just going to get a small brush. This is the starter brush from Army Painter. And I use this quite a bit. And now I want to just kind of make that look. Just bring it out some in different areas. And this is like a shinier kind of... And on the spots where you already had some red, it's going to be extra dark. All right. Now, we don't want to go overboard here. We don't want to make it too disgusting, but we just want it to be kind of funny. And there it is. That's my Infernal dire rabbit, aka the killer rabbit of Caerbannog. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. This one was a little silly, I know, but some of my players will get the joke. Most of my players will get the joke, actually. My adult sons, I showed them this movie when they were probably 11 and 10. My family has a bad filter for knowing what's adult appropriate, all right? We don't watch porno and stuff, but we do watch definitely R-rated comedy. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the notification bell icon, go to the website, check out our miniatures, join our Discord, and show us your version of the infernal creature from the monster manual. It's so dumb. I don't know if I'm going to clear coat him because I'm worried it'll take away some of the look. We'll see. I'll think about it. But he's a real shiny, and I do need to clear coat him, I guess. I might have to come back over it with a little splotch of red to get that. Oh, you can use gloss Mod Podge, guys. So after you clear coat this, yeah, just come back with this a little bit of gloss Mod Podge, mostly in the center parts of the red. And that should look pretty good. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on Discord, hopefully. That'd be awesome. And I don't know what the next entry is. Oh, it's Formians, I think? Yeah, Formians, which are like ant dudes. I'm not sure how we're going to make this. Should be interesting. Thanks for watching.